All right, I am back. So let's do this.
Let's do this.
All right, we're starting now.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, what's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Steve from the 8BG. I'm here with the hostess with the mostest.
No, you're the host. You're the host.
The co-host with the co-mostest.
Oh God, that's bad. You didn't say my name.
It's Thurl.
Oh, that's me. Yeah. Okay.
Today we are talking about Sonic the Hedgehog, the movie.
Yeah.
Start off with some general thoughts. I enjoyed the movie.
Of course you did.
I thought, yeah, of course. And I've been saying since, I saw the first trailer, even the one with the horrific creature that they had, it looked like it was going to be at least decent. It exceeded my expectations in a way where, I didn't think they were going to put as much care into Sonic. I feel like even, they put a lot of attention to detail in terms of personality. It's not just him it's not just him just running around from scene to scene, or it wasn't like a Michael Bay Ninja Turtle situation. The movie was really about him and his feelings of loneliness and things like that. Like, it dealt with certain themes that I didn't expect it to deal with, and it showed in the movie, and I was actually really happy to see that. I thought it was a decent movie. I think it's a great movie if you're younger. Definitely if you're a younger child. It would be a great movie to see. As an older person, you can manage it, but it's actually better than you think that a Sonic movie would be. But I was happy with it. What were your general thoughts on the movie?
It was fine. Literally, I mean, it could have been really bad, and it wasn't. I still some parts of me still see the older design in the movie. I think they couldn't change it so drastically. There's some parts where I see the face of the other Sonic. I swear, towards the end. But it was fine. It was to me. It was Sonic was to me what he was. He was fast. But he kind of to me felt it could have been almost any other character, any other kind of speedy. I get it. He had rings and he was blue and he was fast, but I don't know. Some part of me felt it was so formulaic of a which is why it's okay, right? It was good because it just followed the formula. It didn't do what Mario Brothers or the Uwe Boll films do. It was a fine family friendly movie that. I think the thing that actually carried it for me was Jim Carrey more so than Sonic, actually. I think Jim Carrey was, to me, being Jim Carrey, which we haven't, I haven't seen too many Jim Carrey movies recently, but this was the first time I've seen him in a while where I felt he's doing what he does best, talking fast and, saying things and being just kind of unpredictably running with the role. He's in it 100%. The two other human characters were they were very.
Well, before we get into that, let's kind of talk about. Let's kind of break down each character. I know you kind of mentioned Sonic already, how he was. I would say the thing I like most about the Sonic in this one is, like I said before, the attention to detail in terms of. First off, I would say, even though redesign doesn't really have any bearing on the movie for me, well, it has some slight bearing because it made the movie much watchable. I think the new design of the Sonic is much better. It's much more faithful, and I think that's fine. I think I understood what they're going for with the original design. They wanted something realistic. How would Sonic look in the real world, and that's what they were going for. But unfortunately, I feel like even if they did achieve what a real Sonic would look like, it still wasn't pleasing to the eye. So I can't even imagine if watching an hour and a half movie with that original design. Jeff Fowler, I think he made a great decision to go back to the drawing board. And I hope that the studio that originally did the CGI of Sonic, that where most people got laid off, or I think everybody got laid off, hopefully when the sequel comes, they all get their job back and work on it again. Because I think whoever worked on the design, I think they did a fantastic job and it was the right decision. In terms of his character, I would say number one. I have to say, of course, me with voices. I would say what's his name, Ben Shafer. That's the voice actor for Sonic.
Okay.
Yeah, I think he did a fantastic job. He was really good. It was very good. Varying character. He got a little annoying in some parts of the movie, but I think that's his character. He's supposed to be like this fast talking, fast paced guy who's always hyper, like, yeah, hey, what's going on? Hey, it's me, Sonic the Hedgehog, blah blah. So it did get kind of grating at some point, but I was just like, okay, it's his character, and it wasn't ever so bad where I was just like, okay, I can't take this anymore. But he had the right inflections and everything. And yeah, Sonic was great. I thought he was perfectly realized.
Well, I guess I don't like. I didn't. I don't know if it's because I didn't have high expectations of it being whatever, and so it was. It felt like just a movie that you go and watch, and literally, I'm not thinking of like it's the kind of movie where I'm not that you need to be thinking about it, but like it doesn't. It didn't for me. Its themes or whatever are like okay, like they're not gonna sit with me. And it's. But,
I mean, you didn't think it set with you when he was when he was in that baseball field and he was talking about being lonely and it got him angry and things like that. That didn't touch you in any way.
No, because like,
oh come on.
Because to me it was like, I don't know, like it didn't.
I mean, to me,
I feel like relatable. I feel like it's not like something I haven't seen before with an animated character that feels alone.
I mean, we've seen everything before. It
yeah,
doesn't mean that.
No. It does. It does mean something because it just like not that you have to one up everything, but I'm just saying this did it to me in such a standard way, and I'm not saying nothing wrong with it. It's just there's nothing. It's fine. It's literally fine. It's like I recommend the movie to especially if you like Sonic and Sega and you can find some cool references and but like. Yeah, that was it. It's fine. Like, I'm not blown away. Everything to me was like, if 5 is an average out of 10, this movie was like a 6.5 or a 7. That's literally what it was. Like, I might sound underwhelmed, but it's because that's just like
how you felt.
I just kind of like it was fine. It's like to me there was the stuff around the movie with the image change and stuff was more interesting than the movie itself. So that's how I feel like.
Before I rudely cut you off before, I know he's mentioning something about the human characters.
Yeah, that's probably
what did you think of like Tom and his wife and everybody else?
See, I didn't remember that guy's name. So like Tom, but I don't know if that was because like I really just don't like because the only focus to me was Sonic and Dr. Robotnik. So like. I just felt like Tom was very cookie cutting of a character. He was like acted fine. Like the acting and stuff didn't wasn't distracting, but like there was nothing about his character that did anything right. Like to me that was like he didn't have any flaws really. He was just this all around good guy that Sonic met, and and in some ways that's kind of actually interesting in itself, where he was kind of a guy that just didn't really do anything wrong. He wasn't overly ambitious. He was just kind of a regular guy, and then he had his regular girlfriend who was perfect in every way. Or that was his wife. Okay, I thought that was his girlfriend. All right, so
didn't they have the same last name?
I think it was wife. Bro, I don't know. It's not like a major thing, right? So I guess I didn't know, but it had funny moments, okay, we were talking about characters, and then that's really it, those two, Dr. Robotnik and Sonic, right? There's no other characters.
I mean, honestly, if I felt like
oh my god, what other characters were there?
No, I wasn't saying there was other characters.
I thought you said
my piece.
No, so wait, then there's no, because as you said, there's more, and I'm like, what other characters besides those four?
There's more, but I was gonna mention like.
Wait. So I was gonna say the most interesting thing to me was the beginning, where it showed him as a kid running around, and for reasons this tribe was coming after him. And so, granted, I didn't want a whole movie with that in that 3D world or something like that. I think it might have. I think the reason it worked on the level it has, because I think it's doing pretty good in theaters. I think it works because of the human element, because he's in the real world. I think if it was just an entirely CGI movie, that it might have not been, as successful as
I think it can still work. I think
no,
you can still make a no. I think you can. I think you
no.
can make it still an interesting movie. But here's the thing.
I didn't say interesting. I said it successful because that's like TMNT, right? Like that 3D Turtles movie where I don't know how well that did, but I feel like the Michael Bay ones probably did better.
Oh yeah, Michael Bay did way better.
Right, but not just because it's something about them being real or in a real world makes it more attractive to more people. Once you hear it's a completely CGI Sonic movie or whatever movie, I don't think it's So I said I think that choice to do that kind of movie with the realistic characters was beneficial to the movie. I don't know if it was better for the movie, but it was beneficial to the movie.
Yeah, I mean it's the go-to move for a lot of these properties that go into the big screen. Sometimes, I mean, I think a lot of the childhood shows have, if it was a cartoon, a lot of them had going into the real world. A lot of childhood properties have that kind of that aspect to it. If it doesn't go straight live action, like the Flintstones.
No, but there's a difference because of the subject matter, right? Because a lot of some cartoons and stuff might kind of deal with real world, if you take Transformers, right, that they have humans in that world, right? So if you go to Sonic, and Sonic has many different iterations, right? So you literally have a choice of going I just think it was an interesting risky choice to put Sonic, who sometimes deals with humans but not most of the time, right? Besides Dr. Robotnik, he mostly deals with Sonic.
I mean, I think that's what made this movie kind of special on its own way, is that most of these movies deal with the characters out of water, especially if they're cartoon characters or not cartoon characters, but anthropomorphic animals or creatures coming from another world. A lot of times they dealt with them trying to get acclimated with the world or doing some funny fish out of story aspect. But with Sonic, he was already on Earth for so long, so he pretty much grew up on Earth. He knew all the references. He was almost like an Earthling, but he knew Earth customs. By the time he got older, and I think the only thing with him was that he just kept out of sight because he didn't want to get he didn't want anyone to know that he's there to look for his power or try to harness it. So I think that aspect kind of gives it original different feel, and and I like how like you said in the beginning, I think the beginning was great.
You're talking about you just said this out of these
with Ninja Turtles. When I in a previous podcast, when I compared this to Ninja Turtles, I was hoping that we wouldn't have a situation where it would be Sonic, and then the whole story is about really Tom the entire time. And that's what happened with Ninja Turtles.
But that's
really April's story. And you see the Ninja Turtles every once in a while here and there. And I didn't like that aspect, because I feel like if you're going to have the main characters, do something interesting with those characters that you have. It shouldn't be like Transformers, where the Transformers are kind of like background characters to the human character. But I feel like with Sonic, they did good by, focusing on his character and his quirks and his personality. And then even when he meets up with Tom, it's not just Tom's story. Even though Tom has a story of his own about appreciating where he's from and things like that, it's also about Sonic, and him, kind of building that relationship. So I like that, they gave it, they gave Sonic the majority of focus, which was good.
The only issue I have with your argument is that you're using the worst Ninja Turtle movies. The first Ninja Turtle movies.
Yeah, I know, I understand that, but the problem is the first.
Well, I just feel like they didn't do it in terms of just focusing on. It was more about the relationship between the turtles themselves. I mean, it's a different kind of movie. I'm not, they're different brands, and it's a different appeal with the turtles and whatever. But what I'm trying to, I just feel like everything there's nothing in this movie to me that stood out in terms of being okay. It wasn't off the wall batshit crazy, right? It was literally, which is fine. It wasn't that. it was.
Like you know what this movie what I like about this movie is that
You like everything about this movie.
let me just say something with the performance of the movie. I feel like everybody knew exactly what kind of movie they were in
Right.
terms of
It
what
was
they were doing.
yes, exactly.
And they realized it. Like for example, the person who plays Tom, who plays Cyclops, his name is escaping me now.
But
he played a good character. He was a good foil for Sonic. In terms of Sonic's personality, I felt like he was a good foil, and he was perfect. To be that foil for Sonic, like I think it was great to have that, and at least have someone for Sonic to bounce jokes off of. Even though I felt like a lot of it didn't hit a lot for me a lot of times. But I think if you're a kid, you appreciate it.
Well, that's the thing. It's a kid's movie.
Even with Sonic and Dr. Robotnik, even though they didn't really have like a back-to-back really until towards the end, I still thought it was kind of nice, and I wish the movie slightly dealt with that cat and mouse game a little bit more. Because I thought that it was done pretty well. In terms of like the suspense and the back and forth, I thought that was like really,
suspense.
Well, suspense meaning like it's like when they were showing when they had that showdown together, and it was like Dr. Robotnik versus Sonic. Even though that Sonic is going to win, the movie sets it up. Sets it up really well, where you still feel like, okay, what's going to happen? You still feel the tension between these characters. So they still do a good job of presenting that.
All right. I mean, I can't argue because it was fine. It just everything in it was all right. Like a thumbs up. It just I just like okay. For instance, I'll give you an example. And I'm talking about a kid's movie. Go ahead.
Let me ask you before you get to that. Let me ask you a couple of questions. What do you think about the action sequences in the movie? Like, what were your take on them?
They were pretty good. I thought. Well, usually the best is like the end set piece, I guess. So when showing him running through all the different like parts of the earth and stuff like that, I thought it was pretty cool. And then they did a little bit too much reliance on the he's so fast that everything is slow around him. So like that was cool like the first time, but like I think sometimes you save that either for like a specific thing, like like the reason that's so good is because of how the first X-Men, what was it? Not the first one.
X-Men Days of Future Past.
How they handled that because they couldn't recreate that again, even because when they did it in the next movie, it wasn't as cool, it wasn't as interesting. When they did it in that first movie, something about it, just the scale of it and how they did it, so. When you see it once, it's cool, but when you see it after that, so I think they might have overused that a little bit, but towards the end, when you see him just running and doing that, and the special effects were good. I kind of enjoyed the kind of last boss battle where he's just constantly hitting Robotnik like in a game, and then he explodes like, so it felt. That's what I mean. Like, there was nothing in it. Like, if you're a Sonic fan, if you're, and you like decent movies, this movie's going to be good for you. It's like, so people seen it. Everybody I've not heard anybody say really anything bad about it. I think the Rotten Tomatoes score is pretty good. I think. Let me check right now.
While you're checking that, I would say the action sequences are pretty dope as well. Even though, like, the whole, like, for example, the bar scene, where Sonic was pretty much ripping off Quicksilver.
Yeah, 64% fresh. So that's good.
Yeah, not bad. But even though it was kind of ripping off that sequence, I enjoyed it. And what I think about when I looked at that sequence, I think all these little kids watching it for the first time probably haven't seen X-Men Days of Future Past, and this is probably like their first experience seeing like the super fast character moving like that. So I'm interested to see how this movie becomes like 10 years from now, or even 5 years from now.
It's gonna age poorly.
We'll see. Maybe people the certain movies is kind of like become like a cult classic. I don't see this becoming like that, but I think it'll be interesting to see the younger generation to see how they grow up with this film and how they revere it. I love again, I like the ending scene too. that chase with Dr. Robotnik and Sonic in the city, I thought was done very well, and I like the idea of Robotnik harnessing Sonic's quill to power up his machines to run as fast as him. And I think the special effects were done very well when they were going through like different parts of the world, with the rings and everything. I thought that was done super well. It was really nice.
I think you're oozing all over yourself. But go ahead.
Yeah, but it was done really well. Like, it was nice. I mean, it was cool to really to get so many sequences dealing with speed. Like it was dealing with speed, and they captured that frantic pace perfectly. Like, again, going back to that scene where Sonic did that sonic boom to the town and knocked out all the power when he was running really fast. It's like you can sense the energy and the frantic pace of that scene where he's running, around and around and around, and that creates sonic boom. So, they captured speed very well, and the feeling of it. It was surprisingly good. And the one scene that made me laugh was the scene where he carried Sonic in the bag, and then the lady's like, "Is that your child?" It's a child, but it's not mine. That made me chuckle. It was a funny scene, and I think some of the writing was pretty good on that.
Well, I'll say I think it was. I can't say it enough, but like I didn't even like that part. A, it was in the trailer, so seeing the movie didn't make me laugh, and then B, I think like I don't know, maybe it's because just how I watch movies, but when I was like the most interesting part of that movie, like okay, like once he got this is the stuff not that I didn't like, but it was like, okay, got the bucket list, and it's like make a friend. Oh, okay, like yeah, like okay, yeah. To me, yeah, he's alone from the beginning. He's gonna make a friend. We know that. But what one of the most interesting thing for me, where I was actually curious of how they were gonna handle it, is after he shot him, and then after he shot Sonic, he couldn't run for a while. And I kind of liked how they, like, even without running, and this is to me is more of his character, that I liked in terms of, it wasn't necessarily that he was just always, like, he was still kind of willing to do whatever, even without his speed. So it wasn't like his speed was him. It was like you said, it was just, he had this go get him attitude. Although there was a point where he was getting excessively, this wasn't even annoying, but it just seemed like something about his character didn't make sense to me. When his friend wanted to go, when the guy wanted to go, Tom wanted to go move to do his job, and Sonic got so, like, annoying, or I don't know, like, oh, you can't move, you're just forget about everybody that needs you here. Well, for some reason, that seemed out of place. And he apologizes for it later, too. He's like, sorry, I was acting like that. But I think that, to me, was clumsy. Something about that was clumsily, something about that was clumsily handled. I just didn't like it.
You know what I felt? I felt like, with every, like, buddy movie, they try to create some kind of conflict, but they really couldn't create one organically. So they kind of forced one on the movie, and I think that's probably the only sore spot. Like, when Sonic was upset, and he's like, "Hey, you leave all your friends and everything," and I'm just like, where is coming from?
I can understand if he says that because he feels like that. Okay, he's leaving me, but he kind of kept going at it. Like he kept just building upon it, and then that like created that, like you said, that slight conflict, which wasn't the main conflict of the movie, but obviously you always have to have a character conflict. But like I said, it just felt forced and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's the key word. That's the key word. It felt forced.
But anyway, so
I did like the lesson they try to impart at the end. It's like Sonic had to run away from his home. Sonic kind of influences Tom to stay in his home and protect the people, even if it's 100 or whatever. To protect the people that's there because they care about you and things like that. It was kind of a sweet, lesson.
That was at the end of the day. Yeah, but that lesson is like, to me, that's not even a lesson. That's to me, okay, I get staying home and having people.
But that's a lesson that kids can learn, because at the end of the day, if you're an adult and you get a better paying job somewhere else,
just don't be ambitious in life, okay? That's the point of this movie.
That's it, yeah.
Don't be ambitious. If you get a good job offer, just remember that everybody else who's not doing anything with their lives in your hometown, they need you.
They ask you to fix their stuff.
They need you to,
because they ask you.
Yeah, they need you to suck the life out of them, because that's that's the case.
A great more for 5-year-olds, but if you're 25,
no,
because I know if
it's not great for anybody.
If he's getting that city job, he's getting that city job. He's making that good money over there. So
That's not good for anybody. Kids should want to be ambitious. Go on, get it. Like,
no, I agree, but I think this movie's trying to simplify certain life elements.
I don't know. It could have done.
I understand where they're coming from. Do I agree with it wholeheartedly? Not really, but I see their intent. But
I don't know. I feel like make some friends. That's your theme. That's the point. Make a friend. Stop hiding. It's more of stop hiding and running away. That's what it is. Mm-hmm. He had to stop running from planet to planet to planet. He's been to every planet. He likes this planet. And now you had, his mother figure, whatever, that Owl said, people always want your power, so you got to run. And, well, no, you don't. You can stand and fight.
Fight, yeah.
That's the theme. Stand and fight. So wait, I want to talk to you about two things with the movie, and then the first thing I want to ask you about is, for those who have not seen this is a spoiler. Okay? We're warning you now. Spoiler. Spoiler.
30 minutes in.
End credit scene. Well, some people might be listening about it, So, end credit scene obviously shows Tails coming through. Right? Tails looking pretty cool. The most interesting thing you said is about, I wonder what his other design would have looked like. That I'm curious about. But
yeah, I would have loved to see the old design of Tails of that.
I think this movie was successful enough. Well, that's a good question. I don't know how much it made. I saw somewhere that said $50 million.
It definitely made more than expected.
It's gonna make more. It's gonna make a lot worldwide. So, but I want to know how much. But obviously, that redesign took up like a lot. They lost a lot of money with the moving around of that. But I want to see how successful it's gonna get a sequel, right? This movie will get a sequel.
Of course, definitely. Hopefully it's good, because sometimes
$70 million weekend. Yeah, so it's definitely it's gonna hit $100 million for sure. Probably hit more than that. But so successful. It's gonna have a sequel. Obviously, I think the sequel is gonna have Tails. It's gonna have.
They already kind of introduced some of the what's Knuckles' race?
Echidnas.
Echidnas, yeah, that's the right word. Yeah, echidnas.
Wait, so those were that's what those people were in the beginning?
I believe so. Yeah, I think they were echidnas.
Is that confirmed, or are we just guessing?
I believe.
You believe?
I haven't confirmed it, but you know what, Alex? I was speaking to somebody about this earlier, and he was telling me that those are the race of echidnas.
Okay.
Were they like swinging around?
No, they look like it. I just didn't. I want to say it for sure. So I think okay. So the sequel, I'm predicting it's gonna do a Chaos Emeralds, and it's gonna get a little more gamey.
Oh yeah.
And probably.
You know what I like about this movie too? I like that they kept it simple and they didn't try to cram so much. Granted, it's Sonic the Hedgehog, a video game, but they didn't try to cram every Sonic reference they can find in there.
No, it was subtle. No, the Sega Saturn thing.
There was different references, but I'm talking about like in terms of lore. Like they didn't try to shove the Chaos Emeralds and all this kind of stuff. I actually like that. I like that it was just like. They kept it very, very simple.
In the beginning, there was Chaos Emeralds.
Exactly. They could have done something like that. They could have said the Chaos Emeralds split and this and that, and then all of a sudden
formed all the worlds on the planet. And on this world,
yeah. I would love to see. One thing I would hope the sequel does is, well, here's the thing. At the end of the movie, Robotnik is beaten, and they throw him back into the Mushroom Planet. And speaking of the Mushroom Planet, when I visually saw it, I thought it was a reference to Mario Brothers. It could still be, but I feel like it's not so much anymore. And I know you mentioned there was a mushroom level in one of the Sonic games, correct?
Mushroom Hill Zone, Sonic and Knuckles.
Mushroom Hill Zone. So it could have been a reference to that. But
I think it was. But go ahead.
Yeah, but initially when I saw it, I was like, "Oh, it's probably Mario Brothers." But when they kind of, when they focused more on it, then I was like, "Oh, okay, maybe it's wrong." Because if it was just like a nod, they would just say, "Oh, it's a Mushroom Kingdom. I don't want to go to whatever,"
Yeah.
And Robotnik is there. I was wishing Robotnik would be transported to Sonic's whole planet, and then from there he would start building his contraptions or whatever to start turning the animals into robots, and then Sonic has to go back and it's like you kind of
too much lore.
It's not too much lore. Robotnik
too much lore.
Animals into robots.
No. Too much lore. Wait. All right. So last thing. Okay. Okay, this is something that's interesting. So I'm on Rotten Tomatoes and I'm just clicking links, and so they were like the top video game movies of all time. There's 43 of them. What are the top 3? What do you think the top 3 are?
I know one of them
or
is
top.
Pikachu.
Let's say top 5. Okay, Detective Pikachu. What else?
What there was another video game.
You'll never get the first one.
Hold on, let me just. I got to think about this a little bit because Mortal Kombat is one of them.
Mortal Kombat is in the top 6.
Top 6, darn it. All right. Mortal Kombat. Hold on. Prince of Persia.
That is number 9.
Oh, damn it.
I'll give you a hint. None of the Resident Evil movies are in the top 10.
Damn. Well, they're barely video game movies in the first place. Let me see. I feel like the haunted. It was that gun game. House of the Dead.
No, that's probably. I think that's at the bottom.
Oh, it's probably UA Bulls thing. So
it's definitely it's not.
Shoot. Oh, I feel like I noticed.
You'll never get it.
Okay, hold on.
I'll give you a hint. I'll give you a hint with one of the movies in the top 5. It stars The Rock.
Doom.
No.
Damn. The Rock.
It's more recent. It's more recent.
Rampage.
Yeah, that's top number 5. The number 4 was and by the way, these top the 5 and 4 are still like considered rotten, like they didn't score high, but the top 3 are right. So you got what you said. Detective Pikachu. That's 5. So Detective Pikachu, Rampage is 5. Detective Pikachu is 2. This one is it got rebooted recently.
Got rebooted.
So it has 2 other movies. I'll give you that. It has 2 movies already, and it got rebooted.
Oh, let me see. It got rebooted. Damn it. I can't even think of it.
I feel like if I give you a hint, it'll give it too far away.
Okay, hold on. Let me see.
Stars a girl.
Oh, Tomb Raider.
Yeah. So the newer Tomb Raider movie is number 4. So you're missing number 3 and you're missing number 1.
All right. Video game movie. Oh my god.
Number 3 is well, it was what we're talking about today.
Mm-hmm.
So number 3 is.
And number 4.
Number 3 is Sonic.
And then number 4.
4 is Tomb Raider. 5 is Rampage. 2 is Pikachu. What is number 1?
What is number 1? Oh,
you'll never get it.
Super Mario Brothers.
I wish.
Street Fighter.
I wish.
Oh, damn it.
I'll give you a hint.
Mm-hmm.
The first one is. So it's a sequel to a movie. The first one. Let me see if I can find it. Where is it? The first one. The first one break the top 10? Yeah, the first one is in the top 10. And these movies came out within the last 5 years.
God damn. Not The Legend of Chun-Li.
Is that even on here?
I don't think so.
It should be.
I'm trying to name every video game movie that I know.
Yeah, Legend of Chun-Li is definitely here.
It came out in the last 5 years.
Number 38. So that's pretty bad. Legend of Chun-Li is pretty bad.
2015. Huh. What game movie came out 2015? I give up. I can't even think of it.
All right.
Or give me a hint. I'll see if me. I mean, you probably give me a hint. I'll probably get it. But
I think everyone has played this game. In some form. Everyone has played this game. I'll say everyone has played this game within the past 6 years. 6 or 7 years.
Huh. I quit. I give up.
The game is free. Okay.
The game is free.
The game.
And it was a movie?
God, if I say it.
Angry Birds?
Yeah! Angry Birds 2. Okay. Angry Birds 2 is the highest rated.
You know what? I forgot they're still gaming properties.
Right. So the Angry Birds 2 is actually 73%. Like, it has positive reviews. It's like, it's considered good. The first one was not, but apparently the second one's much better. All right.
interesting.
Yeah, that is very like I would have never. That's why I felt like that was a good guessing game because you would have never got that shit. All right, so man, so this is it. Our Sonic discussion. It was kind of all over the place.
Nah, I mean, not really. I mean, I think we talked about it. I mean, like the overall thoughts. Sonic is a good movie. I'd recommend it.
Yeah, I recommend it.
If you're interested, especially like once it gets to the ancillary market. On DVD or on streaming.
Don't take my tone for it being blah. It's good. Go see it.
Yeah, it's a decent movie. And I think, especially if you're a kid, it'll be a great first movie.
Yeah, it's good. It's a good. You saw the kids running out of the movie theaters. They were just running with their arms behind like Sonic or like little ninjas.
Yeah, and it's kind of great to kind of see like a video game character, kind of doing big moves right now because that's great. It's great for the industry at the end of the day.
You know what though? I think I'm spoiled by certain movies. I feel like like I still can't get over how and when we talk about kids movies or movies that are like rated PG or G, I'm holding movies to the standard of like was Spider-Man, man, the Into the Spider-Verse. That movie to me is perfect. It's so good.
I agree. It's a great movie. That's a very.
It's a movie where that's and I'm like I shouldn't go into Sonic expecting to be thinking about it. After.
Yeah, I mean, I think you have to have a certain expectation.
But my expectations going into that movie were like, okay, it's gonna be a Spider-Man movie. I don't think it's gonna be better than like Spider-Man 2 or maybe Far From Home, but to me it blows all those movies out of the water. It was so good. It literally gave me that, and maybe it's because the character was colored, but something about that movie made me wish I felt like being Spider-Man. I felt like I think the whole point of these comics and Inspire and all that movie did it for me. It just you know what I mean. So like, let me not compare it, but I think like maybe that's why I sounded so like. I mean, I was hoping to get something else out of it, but it just turned out to be perfectly serviceable.
I agree with you in a way where I wish there was a little bit more. Because,
like they took a risk somewhere because like I wish they took a risk. This movie was very safe, which is all right. But I actually gotta go.